All right, in this episode, I talk about leaning back. Is that good or bad for the pitcher? And the king of the hill plate and how it promotes torsion. Brent Borser here at the @Top Velocity hashtag Pitch and Tips show, where you go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat @Top Velocity, hashtag Pitch and Tips, hashtag Baseball Tips, hashtag Infield Tips, hashtag Outfield Tips, hashtag Catching Tips, hashtag any tips that you have a question on, well, around baseball, of course, and we'll answer on the show. If you haven't been watching the show, a lot of great questions thus far. A lot of great episodes. If you haven't been watching the Top Velocity Baseball Science series, you need to. Really a lot of fun stuff. Getting into the science, getting down and dirty with it. It's wearing me out. It's hard work, but enjoying it. I'm by myself once again because it's the holidays. Everybody's at home, just chilling out, enjoying family time. I hope you are too. But I still wanted to get these videos out to you. I left my family. They're all pissed, but I wanted to make sure I didn't leave you guys hanging. I want to have a good, keep the shows going for you guys to make sure you guys are getting ready for the season coming up. I know there's a lot of work to do for all of you. If you haven't already, come down to the 3X Velocity Camp, 2X camps, but the 3X camps this weekend. You got a lot of guys working really hard to have a good season this year. I'm really excited. Season's getting close. It's crazy how it always comes back around so fast. But it's right there knocking on the door. So let's answer some questions and let's start working, getting better for this upcoming season. So what's the question for today? Brian Havarilla asks, can leaning back with the shoulders cause problems in the pitching delivery? All right, leaning back with the shoulders can mean several things. It can mean dipping towards the rubber, or it can mean contralateral tilt. So when we talk contralateral tilt, that's tilting towards your glove side. Ipsilateral tilt is tilting to your throwing arm side. Now, studies show high velocity pitchers are more in a contralateral tilt. So, if your trunk was centered, that'd be 0. That would be a neutral position. But they're about 10 to 25 degrees to the contralateral side. Actually, studies show the more you went to the contralateral side, the harder you threw. More than likely because your arm abducted, and they also found that a 90-degree arm abduction, the highest wrist velocities. 100 degrees abduction is the healthiest arm slots. So it's going to get us into healthier arm slots and higher wrist velocities the more we contralateral tilt. Now, if you contralateral tilt too far, then it becomes excessive. Something past 25 degrees, around 30 degrees is excessive. And what happens is the ball speeds don't go up anymore, but the torques continue to go up in your arm. So it starts to become harder on your arm. And here's the issue too. If you contralateral tilt too much, if I go too much to the glove side, and I don't have a lot of linear power, then I start getting rotational, and we don't want that. And more than likely, that's what the excessive tilting is doing. It's creating more rotation, which becomes hard on the arm. We have also the ASMI study on extreme long toss that found two things. But as the guys increased distances, the torques on their arms increased, and at the same time, their mechanics went from less sagittal movements, forward trunk tilts, knee flexion, extension, to more transverse movements, hip rotation, trunk rotation, elbow extension, flexion. So typically what it's almost showing there's a correlation of rotational movements to arm torques, but we yet to have had that study put together. But that would be interesting to see. But that's what I advise against. Going too far to the contralateral side, 30 degrees, you start to get rotational and it gets to be hard on your arm. Okay, so I hope that helps. I mean, if you're talking about dipping towards the rubber, if I'm missing that, that helps lead the hips longer, but at the same time too, if I don't have a lot of linear power, I could just get stuck rotating again or pushing the ball. I mean, a lot of bad things can happen. Linear power into a more dynamic load on the trunk is always a great thing to do, and we want to load maybe a little bit back through the rubber, but definitely to the contralateral side, somewhere 10 to 25. if we could. I like to see good contralateral tilt. Good question. Next question. El Caballete asks, how does the King of the Hill promote torsion? All right, talk about the King of the Hill again. So, new version of the King of the Hill is pretty cool. There's now the plunger has a little gauge, so you know how much torque you're putting into the plunger. And if you don't know what the King of the Hill is, it's this nifty little tool that has a heavy plate. This thing is heavy duty. It's one thing I love about what Rich has done with this. You know, I think he's worked with cars, so it's you feel like you're holding a piece of machinery here. It's very heavy, and therefore it gives you a great piece to work with. It's something that's never going to break. And the plate slides and it bangs on the plunger when you know you're putting force, and then you can tighten the plunger to make the force it harder to create that bang. Now, why it promotes torsion and why it's really effective is, think about the plate. It's sliding on the surface of the ground, so it's going, you know, horizontal to the ground movements. Now, so if I'm pushing straight down on it, it's not going to move. So I have to be pushing back on it. So here's the thing, is how that would promote torsion. Because if I lifted my leg and all I did was collapse the knee, because that's what I have to do. I have to take the force vector, the ankle to knee, and I have to lay it down so I can push back against the plate. Remember, if I push down, nothing happens. I have to push back against the plate for it to bang. So if I just push my knee down without my hips going forward, or I collapse my back leg, well, you'll get it in a good position, but it'll be collapsed, it'll be unstable, and you won't be able to push. So to be able to effectively push the plate is you have to lead your hips moving forward, fall forward and down at the same rate with your hips, and allow the knee to follow, but holding torsion, which is a twisting force, which is taking the knee or the femur and turning it outward where the kneecap turns back towards almost shortstop. And if you hold that position as your hips fall forward and down, now you get your force vector linear with your hip in front, and it's stable. It's stable like you're squatting, because that's how we squat in torsion. And now you can push back against the plate, generate force, and when it unloads, with the best thing about it is torsion, which is an external rotation twisting force, which is how the knee worked. The knee basically is a twisted pair of tendons that when the knee goes inward, they open up, and that's where most MCL, ACL tears occur. And when it goes outward, like a towel, it tightens up. So in an external rotation of that kneecap or that femur, you get a stabilized leg. And when you push and that unloads, because you're pushing against the ground, wherever there's an action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So the opposite reaction is to push back, and it wants to push the knee back, and therefore it wants to release the knee from external rotation into internal rotation, which supports hip rotation, basically everything opening to the target, which is all key movements of high velocity pitchers. So that's how the King of the Plate does it. You'll never be able to, if you have a good amount of torque put into that plunger, you'll never be able to push back without getting the force vector linear and without getting it stable, so you can actually push into it without it collapsing. Okay, so that's the brilliance of the King of the Hill plate, the King of the Hill trainer, which you can get at topvelocity.net with the 3X Velocity Development Kit, which is a series of drills that allow you to get every piece of use from this plate. Gives you a great back leg drive drills, great front leg drive drills to really learn the ground reaction forces of a high velocity pitcher, which, if you want to learn more about that, just look at episode 1 and 2 of Top Velocity Baseball Science series, and you'll learn about the critical importance of ground reaction forces for the pitcher. And this is the only plate, the only trainer that acts as a force plate and teaches you how to effectively drive through the back leg drives and the front leg drives to increase ball speed. But you need a set of drills to learn it effectively, and you need to understand how that has to convert to hip to shoulder separation, which we talk about in that velocity development kit that you can get at topvelocity.net. I'll actually link it to the video here. And also, it encourages you to look more into the 3X programs, which has way more drills that you can still use the plate with. There's even more drills you can use the plate with and get more benefits from it. So that was a good question. If you have a question, go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, @TopVelocity, hashtag pitching tips, hashtag baseball tips, hashtag any tips that we would do here. Anything you want to know, we want to answer it. And I hope you're having a great holiday. The New Year's coming up. I really wanted to push this new show that's been just a great hit with all you guys, the @TopVelocity show. I wanted to push it all the way to the new year for you and start all over again and have a great a new year getting ready for the season. So I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you have more questions. Please put them out there and really enjoy your holidays. I got to go because that was my wife calling just then. So I'm sure I'm in trouble for being in here, but hey, that's all right. It's all about baseball. All for baseball, right? All right, so see you on the next episode.